Welcome to our Advent Devotional series, where over the next 24 days, we're going to be looking at 24 different names belonging to Jesus. I'm so glad that you're tuning into this devotional series, wherever you're watching this. And I really pray that as we head towards Christmas, you find these devotions a real encouragement. And our first name in our devotional series is the Word. And we find the Word written in John's account of Jesus' life. And in John chapter 1, verse 1, John writes this. He says, "In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God." Now, when John says the Word, he's pointing us right the way back to the very start of the Bible, where we see that God makes this whole universe by the power of his Word. God speaks and things come into existence. And yet John says that the Word is not an impersonal power, but the Word, in fact, is a person. Jesus is the Word, John says. And words reveal things, don't they? And Jesus reveals God to us, John says. Jesus makes God known to us. God has spoken, in other words. Don't you find that fascinating? Another part of the Bible, Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1 puts it this way, where it says, "In the past, God has spoke to our ancestors through the prophets at many times and in various ways, but in these last days, he has spoken to us by his Son." Do we want to know God? Jesus is the Word, God revealed to us, God speaking to us. And in these last few moments, I just want to draw out two reflections for us as we think about Jesus being the Word. And the first one's this, that words bring clarity. Now, we've probably all had the experience of driving somewhere that we've never been to before, and we've needed the help of a sat-nav in order to get there, and usually they're pretty helpful, although I have heard some interesting stories. But the point still stands that in times where we don't know where to go, a word, a voice from someone who does know where to go actually brings great clarity, and it's a great help. And Jesus is a word that brings great clarity into each of our lives. He is a word that actually loves us enough to tell us when we've headed off in the wrong direction, and is gracious enough to tell us where the right way, the right direction to go instead. Jesus is a word that brings great clarity to some of life's biggest questions. Questions like, is there a God? Who is this God? How can I know this God? It brings clarity to what God has done for each one of us and how we can respond to him. Jesus is the Word. He brings great clarity. But second reflection is this: words bring comfort. Now, I don't know about you, but I find silence quite disconcerting, quite unsettling. I feel an uneasy atmosphere with silence. I'll give you one example of why. If you've ever been on a train heading up to London maybe, and it's kind of stopped on the tracks, it's not by a station, it's just standing still in the tracks, and it's been there not moving for quite a while, and you wonder what's happening, and all of the things go through your mind about what could have possibly have gone wrong, and there's this uneasy silence that is filling the train carriage at that moment. That is until the voice of the train driver speaks through the loudspeaker, and his word comes to us, and he informs everybody about what is going on. And at that point, there's relief. We know his word brings comfort to us in the unknown. And words from the words that John has said is God himself, God made known to us. Well, they couldn't be more comforting words to hear from, could they? And when we look at the person of Jesus, actually his words to us, actually his love for us, well, our words can't even describe it. And he comforts us with the life-changing news that when we come to him, Jesus, we are totally forgiven, we are totally loved, and we are totally heading for an eternal life with him. Jesus is a word that brings great comfort, great hope to us. Jesus is the Word. Jesus is God speaking to each one of us. And I guess the question for us today is really this, is, well, do we want to hear from him? Because I think John would say to us that Jesus is a word that we need to hear from. And actually, there's no better person we could hear from